we're talking about student loan refinancing and what some of the pros and cons might be. And one thing that you've said in some of our past conversations is that student loans may affect a physician's career decisions. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, namely the public service loan forgiveness program is where this comes into play. And it's not only important for the borrower, the medical graduate who's progressing through their training, understands what they're positioning for and how to maximize it, but that an employer or recruiter understands that option that might be available. 80% of hospitals in the nation are 501c3 nonprofits. Now, that doesn't mean that every hospital employs their physician directly from a nonprofit. Federal Stark law and state interpretation of that can affect how physicians are employed in hospital environments. In California, where I've spent a lot of time, we think about the Kaiser system, which is probably a household name even nationally. And when you do your residency at Kaiser, you're employed by the foundation, which is a nonprofit organization. It qualifies for public service loan forgiveness, but that's 10 years required. So if you're doing, say, 3 years of a pediatric residency and another 3 years of pediatric fellowship, and it's all of your training is done in a nonprofit environment, 95% of teaching hospitals are nonprofit organizations, you think if you got 4 years left to get your loans forgiven through this public service loan forgiveness program that exists today. So you want to make sure you're maximizing that during your training, because a lot of physicians early in their training might not know where they're going to end up even after they train, or if they're going to get into a fellowship, or if they want to do that. And so maximizing public service loan forgiveness is something that they may want to do to maximize the savings option if they choose a nonprofit job, or if they stay in academics, as an example, which is typically a nonprofit employment. And so if that next 4 years after your 6 years of training is going to position you for $200,000 or more of tax-free loan savings, you know, that salary offer of, say, $175,000 in the public sector versus $220,000 in the private sector, just an example here, but something that we've analyzed for people before. That next 4 years, you're actually economically better off taking the nonprofit job. And you want to make sure that you maximize this loan forgiveness program to get all of the benefit while it still exists. There's some legislative proposals. This has been mentioned to be changed or eliminated or capped in future years, but it seems to be available to doctors today, and they should take advantage of it.